Chapter 1, 11th Zoology, The Living World, Part 3. The topic is History of Classifications. In History of Classifications, we have seen Aristotle was the first to classify all the animals. In his History of Animalia, he has written that we have seen that animals classified based on their locomotions, walking, flying, swimming, based on the presence absence of RBC cells. Then animals are classified into two: anima with blood and without blood we call as a anima. And continuations of this history of classification is the one. Aristotle's classification system had limitations. Aristotle's classification system had limitations, and many organisms were not fitting into his classifications. So yes, Aristotle classifications was limitations, but many organisms were not come under his classifications. For example, the tadpoles, a frog, are born in water and have gills, but when they are metamorphosed into adult frog, they have lungs and can live both in water and on land. So he has given an example that is limitations, which is not Aristotle does not consider this point at all. The tadpoles, when they grow in the water, when they during embryo time, they have gills for respirations. When they metamorphose means when they grown and they live on land, when they come on the land, they use lungs for breathing one. So then how to classify frogs and where to place them? So this he didn't mention. Aristotle didn't classify properly. And Aristotle classified the organism based on locomotions. Hence, birds, bats, and flying insects were grouped together just by observing one single characteristic features. What they say here. And the next point he says, that is limitations, says Aristotle classified organisms based on the locomotions, birds, bats, flying, insects, observing a single characters features. The flying ability, with a flying ability. The ostrich, emu, and penguin are all birds but cannot fly. So this one he cannot include, he couldn't include in his limitations. So Aristotle would have classified them as birds. In spite of these limitations, Aristotle's classification system were followed for more than 2000 years, up to 1700. So that is the limitations of Aristotle. They'll ask you important 2 marks indirect questions. They'll ask you. Just note it down. The next one, after Aristotle, his students name called Theophrastus. Theophrastus, the year of 372 to 287 BC. Continued his research on classifications of plants, and he was known as father of botany. They'll ask you one word. Who is known as father of botany? So Theophrastus is the known as the father of botany. There was a huge gap till 16th century. Then the English naturalist John Ray, the year of 1927 to 1705, wrote several important works through his life. His most important contributions was the establishment of species as the ultimate unit of taxonomy. His most important contribution is the one species, ultimate unit of taxonomy. And then he has published, John Ray, in the year of 1682, John Ray published Methodus Planetarium Nova, one book just published, which contain about 18,000 plant species are included in the Methodus Planetarium Nova. Planetarium Nova. In this, he has just included 18,000 plant species. A result of relatively narrow species concept. Narrow species concept, just he has done. His complicated classifications were based on many combined characters. Yes, John Ray's classification based on combined characters as opposed to earlier taxonomists. John Ray also aimed at publishing a complete system of nature. John Ray has just written one book, Methodus Planetarium Nova. In that, 18,000 plant species were included. That is because of narrow species. And he has combined characters. He classified the animal based on combined characters, and which include works on mammals. John Ray also aimed at publishing a complete system of nature, which included works on mammals, reptiles, birds, fishes, and insects. The Swedish biologist Carolus Linnaeus, 1707 to 1788, father of modern taxonomy. Just underline this one word. The founder of modern systematic developed as a scientific systems of taxonomy and binomial nomenclature, which is still in use. There is Aristotle to Linnaeus. Aristotle to Linnaeus employed easily observable single to few traits for classifications of organisms. So they are employed single organism to many traits of classifications of organisms with increased knowledge of several biological domains. Many characters were considered for classifying organisms. So this represented the phase of classical taxonomy, which was based on overall similarities or affinities derived from morphology, anatomy, and embryology of organisms. The modifications of this system is a numerical taxonomy. So modification means changes, numerical based on the changes that undergo for the numerical taxonomy, which evolved in the 1950s. So this system evaluates the resemblance and difference through the statistical methods followed by computer analysis to establish the numerical degree of relationship among the individuals. Later on, biologists initiated studies on evolutionary and genetic relationship among organisms, which leads to emergence of phylogenetic classifications or cladistics. What do you mean by phylogenetic classification, cladistics? It is evolutionary classifications based on how a common ancestor were shared. That is the one that thinks the cladistics. That is evolutionary classifications based on how a common ancestry was shared. Just mark it 2 marks. Indirect question, they'll ask you what is cladistics or what is phylogenetic classification. They'll ask you, mark it after that cladistics, you can mark it 2 marks, 2 lines. The cladistic classifications summarizes genetic differences between all species of phylogenetic tree. So that is a scientist Ernest Haeckel introduced the methods of representing the evolutionary relationship with the help of tree diagram, is known as a cladogram. Here, this is we call as a cladogram. This is done by Ernest Haeckel. They'll ask you one word. Just underline. Methods of representing evolutionary relationship with the help of a tree diagram is known as a cladogram. The system of classifications takes place into account ancestral characters and derived characters. What is ancestral character? That characters which comes from their ancestors. And derived character means represents what they get from their surroundings. That is because derived characters, one or more derived characters which appeared during evolutions resulted in the formations of new subspecies. New subspecies. What they say here, the characters may be ancestral characters. Whatever the characters we have at now, it may be transferred from our grandma, grandpa, or even our ancestors. And another one, derived characters. At present, wherever you live in that area, what are the characters you gain, that also will be expressed. That is because a derived character. One or more derived characters which appear during evolutions resulted in the formations of new subspecies. So the derived characters may be one or more which appear during evolutions. So that characters may appear next generations or after 2 or 3 generations. That leads to new subspecies. In a cladogram, each evolutionary steps produces branching, and all the members of a branch would possess the derived characters which will not be seen in organisms below a particular branch point. Arranging organism on the basis of their similar derived characters which differ from ancestral characters produced a phylogenetic tree or cladogram. So here this is the examples of cladogram. Vertebrates, the bottom one, bony skeletons and forelimbs, amniotic egg, air, and primates. So these are the evolutionary trees as a cladogram. Shark, ray, fin, fish, amphibians, crocodile, birds, rodents or rabbits. Then afterwards only primates. From that primates only the human being or just existed. With this, just we'll wind up a class. Just go through what we discussed today. Learn the topic. If you have any doubt, you can contact me through WhatsApp. Okay, bye. Take care.